Hello everybody again. Now with other conditions, with with light, uh, and um, and we can talk uh, about this time about what camera, what accessories should I have to begin my hobby of photography. These are not questions very easy to answer. The, the most easy one is the ones you like more. But it's a bit like buying a car. Mm, all cars move. All cars have more or less the same things. They have wheels. They have everything. They are very similar. But why do you choose certain brand? Why do you choose a certain car? Because you like it. Because you like it, the way it works, the look of the car too. So in cameras, it's more or less like that. There are several good cameras, but when we are beginning, I don't think that's very important. That's very important. You can begin with a phone. Why not photographing with a phone? With a phone, you have like I'm shooting this video now with a phone, and the quality I think is good. So it's like that. So in Portugal there is not the habit or the costume. It's not a rule to rent a camera. In other countries it's more easy to do that. When we rent a camera, we can try the camera and feel if we like to work with that camera. But if we cannot rent, we can ask friends for a camera to try to see if we like that camera, if we like to shoot with that camera. The best camera you can have is the one you have in your pocket or in your bag, as I usually say. But and many people, of course, when we go to more specialized photography, that's not enough. That's not enough. For now, we don't know the future. The future. Maybe in the future the cameras on the phones can really substitute the normal cameras, but the phone is not too very easy to handle. As we see, we can pick the phone, but sometimes it slips from our hands. It's not, there isn't a grip or something to grab, and when we do photography and we are used to that, we feel something that could, of course there is already grips for phones, so you can begin with whatever you want. That's the main important. The other thing that is now the things that are not very important. Don't spend money in UV filters. They are useless. For what? You have a camera. You have glass in the objective. With quality, and then you put a piece of glass or plastic or acrylic or whatever, saying that's a UV filter, but of bad quality, so it doesn't help your photography. So don't spend money on that. Tripods too. I don't think in the first 2 years you will not need tripods. You will not need tripods. The tripods are very useful in specialized photography. When you want to do long expositions, when you want to do the night shots, and you need to have the camera very still, very with no shake with your hands. So don't spend money on that. Other thing is some people buy external discs to save their photography, their photographies. That's important when we have good images and we really want we don't want to lose those photos. So if you don't want to lose them and to free our cards in the camera, we can download the photos we have in the camera to those external discs. But the external discs are somehow, most of the times the good ones are very expensive. So in the first 2 years of your hobby, you will not take many very good photographies. You are only trying to do photography. So why an external disc? Don't buy one. Don't buy one only after 2 years, when your images and your photos are getting better. Then you can spend the money on a good disc or external disc. And if you later think that, well, I'm going to do long exposures photography, or I need to have no shake in the photography, okay, buy a tripod, buy the external disc, etc. Okay. Well, about the cleaning of your camera. Those sprays, rubber sprays, are, I don't know how to say it, but those rubber sprays and the t-shirt, it's enough. It's enough. You blow with hair. You blow with hair your camera, and then you clean it with the lens with a t-shirt of cotton. A cotton t-shirt is enough too. So you don't need to buy a big kit of cleaning your camera. So don't spend too much on that. Of course, one thing very important when you buy your gear, it's the weight of your gear. Okay, because if you are going to buy heavy gear, you will not go out many times, because it's very heavy, it's very hard to transport, and so you don't go out to photograph. Okay, buy light gear. Okay, that's another important thing. Another important thing, if your camera has a stabilizer, okay, if an IBIS, if it can remove the movements or the trembling of your hand when you handle the camera. A good stabilizer is very good, because you can do photos with less light, or with no shake and of course more focus, more photos with a better focus. And that's important. Or the camera, or that IBIS in the camera, or lens that are have a stabilizer too. So it can be or both. Okay. Another thing important is resistant to dust, to rain, to water. because if you have a camera that is not resistant to that, you can when it's raining, you don't go to the streets. You don't go out for shooting. You don't go out for photographing. So a camera with that would be important too. The only filter that may be important in the beginning, it's the polarizer filter. Okay, not the neutral density filters or the UV filters as I talked before. But the density neutral filters are important for long expositions, only when you have a tripod, or only when you want to do those kind of photographies. But for now, a polarizer filter would be good, because the contrast and the remove of reflection of the sun in the water or in a glass that sometimes ruin a photograph, ruin a photo, that will be removed with that filter. So if you have one, it's important, and you can the circular ones, you can do remove those reflections in the foreground, or those reflections in the background. Of course, remember always that the source of the light should be lateral to the focus point. Okay, so you have the sun or the light on the right or on the left when of the focus line. Okay, that's when those polarizer filters have more interest and have more results. Okay, that's important. Then about the objectives, the prime lens with no zoom have a fixed focal distance. They normally are better than the zooms. Okay, but it's not always like that. If you want to, there's of course some cameras that have a zoom as the only lens possible, because the zoom doesn't come out. So some are very good too. So to begin, you can have very many choices, and you can do it. But I like very much of the primes, because the primes normally have better image than the zoom lens. Okay, of course there are always exceptions to this. There are very good zoom lenses. They are very expensive. So that's the main goal. Of course, when we have primes, we are going to have more lens with us. No, of course, if you take wide angle, 15 millimeters or 16 millimeters, and then you have a 24 millimeters or a 28 millimeters, a 35 millimeters, 50 millimeters. How many lenses I've told till now? A lot of them. Of course, you must think always on the weight you want to carry. That's why you should do that. When the zoom is very big, the difference of the zoom, for instance, 18 to 250 millimeters, that's not a very good zoom. Okay, that's not a very good zoom. When we have the wide angle and the teleobjective in the same lens, that's very difficult to be good. Okay, very difficult. Of course, there is very good zooms, as I told, but this large one, till 135 millimeters, I usually use primes. I photographed a long time ago, so you can use what you can buy. Of course, it's always the same problem. It's like the car. No, you buy the car you like if you have money for that, and you can't buy a lens or a camera that is very expensive. So don't buy it. Buy another one, less expensive. Usually when I go to a city, I go light. I take a camera with a fixed lens, f1.7, with a big aperture, and wide angle with 28 millimeters. And I do everything. The zoom are my legs. If I want something closer, I go closer to the subject or the object, whatever. But it depends on what we are going to photograph. If you go photographing birds, of course, that lens doesn't work for that. In the next videos, I will talk about the three main important things in a camera to learn in a simple way how to use the ISO, the aperture, and the shutter speed. Okay, these three things are the very important. When you put in manual, you can control these three things, and I will explain why there is three things to do the same thing. Okay, ISO, aperture, and shutter only. They do all the three things. Do the same thing. They darken a photo, or they turn it light, with more light. So I will explain why there is three things for the same purpose. Okay? For now, it's all. Thank you for listening. Now I think the quality is much better, and till next video. And I've done this more quickly because of the quality of the other one. So if you have questions, comment below. If you have something to tell too, I will talk in brands. I will talk in brands of the gear and the gear I use, but that's for other videos. And why I use them, but it's like this. That's because I like it, not because it's better than the others. There's several brands that are very good. So, good afternoon, and till next video.